I think what they did was that if you feel the same state as your residence, they'll probably post you to a jurisdiction that's close by. I'm not too sure. But I would advise you to please choose location with sense. I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying that, choose a place where you would be able to carry on with your law school experience as if you were still in law school. Hi guys, welcome to my channel once again. This is Bar Talk with Ola. My name is Mujela Olu. I'm so thrilled to have you here once again. I tried filming this this particular episode about 2 Sundays ago, and guess what? I spoke into the air for like 1 hour. Yes, it was supposed to be around 28 or 30 minutes, and I did the first one. It did not save on my camera. I did it again. It did not save. I do not know why. So I'm glad that I'm able to finally get around to it once again. But I want to make a shout out first of all to a set of people. One of them is still a law student. I believe that within the time between which she first contacted me and now, she must have probably gone to the law school, might be rounding up her program at the University of Maiduguri. I'm talking about Adiza. Adiza mailed me around March or April. She was so happy to have found my channel, and she thanked me for the content that I'm putting out here. She asked some questions and I mailed her back. I am dedicating this video to you, Adiza. If you ever watch it, thank you so much for that feedback, and thank you so much for mailing me. I want to thank Buki Ogunshakin Esquire, Mrs. Buki Ogunshakin Esquire. I want to make a shout out to you. I'm so thrilled and so impressed by your feat. Guys, do you know what she did? She got her law degree about 17 years ago, and then according to her story, which I found on LinkedIn, she went into business immediately. She started working immediately, so she did not go to law school. And guess what? She went back to law school and has just been admitted this year after 17 years. Guys, that is loud, 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 and I'm so proud of her. Like, if if my channel was enabled for a live session, I probably would have thought about bringing her on for a live session. She should just talk to us about how she achieved this feat and how she was able to get back into the system after 17 years. Someone once said in my hearing that if you leave law for 1 day, law leaves you for 1 year. So you can imagine, she had gotten married, had children, done business, worked for 17 years, and then she came back into law, and now she's a member of the bar. I'm so proud of you. And how did I find that? I saw a post on LinkedIn. I commented on it saying that it was a great feat, and I was asking her how she was able to come back on track and just remember the things she learned 17 years ago. And the first thing she said to me in her comment, I'm going to put it on the screen, was that she has watched practically all of my videos. That is so thrilling to hear. Like, I am so pleased to hear that. I'm just happy that people are finding value with the content that I'm creating. The third person that I want to shout out to is Sunday Obia. Sunday Obia is also, a LinkedIn connection of mine. We connected a few years ago, I believe, and we've been talking. He carried me along when he was going to law school. We'll talk every now and then, and I'm so happy that he graduated with a first class. So Sunday is a first class graduate of the Nigerian Law School. Not only that, he is now a member of the Nigerian Bar. So congratulations to these newly admitted members of the Nigerian Bar Association, and thank you, Adiza. I wish you success in your studies at the University of Maiduguri. I also wish you success with the position that you were appointed to according to your email, and I also hope that one day you would also become a member of the Nigerian Bar Association. I'm so happy that this channel is becoming a part, of people's success stories. It gives me great joy. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all my subscribers, all those who leave me comments, all those who give me feedback on other social media channels. Thank you so much. I know that there are those of you who are finding value but who have never sent me feedback. Now, I know that you're finding value. I know that you're probably happy that you found the channel, and I know that you're finding the content very useful, but how will I know if you do not feed me back? That's why I keep saying that leave me comments in the comment section, or just send a mail to houseoflivingstones@gmail.com. And if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can connect with me. I'm Mojola Oluwa Livingstones on LinkedIn. I'm also on Twitter, but I'm not really that active. But I'm going to leave the link or the username or handle to all my social media channels in this particular video's, description box. I hope that you check it out and you connect with me and you give me feedback, positive feedback. Also tell me what you'd like me to improve upon, or what you'd like to see more of or hear more of on this channel. Today we want to talk about acing your law school externship. Law school externship is a 3 months thereabouts period in the life of every law school student in Nigeria that you cannot dodge. It's compulsory as far as I understand it to be. I'm sure that, between the time that I went to law school, which is a few years ago, and now, there's been, a lot of changes in the syllabus and in the law school curriculum and how they operate. So I won't be too sure, but I suppose and believe that they cannot take away the externship period. And that's because externship is very key. It's like the practical aspect of going to law school. It's like IT period for engineering or science students. So it cannot be taken out. So I want to share tips that helped me with my own externship, which can also help you if you're going through externship. And if you know someone that is going or will soon go to law school, or will soon do his or her externship, or is on externship, you should totally send them the link to this video. Let them watch it. I'm sure that they would find it useful. So I'm going to be sharing 5 tips that can help you with your law school externship. 5 tips that can help you ace your law school externship. So let's talk about the first tip. Choose your location wisely. Choose your location wisely. Now, if it's still operating the way it was when I went to law school, around the time that we got to law school, I went to law school in November. So around that time when we got to school, we were given forms to fill. And on that form, you would fill, the state where you want to do your externship. Because law school will be posting you out of the school for those 3 months. It's about 9 to 11 weeks, I think. So let's just say 3 months. So you fill the location that you want to go to. That's the state. They will post you to whichever jurisdiction they please, linking it also to your residence. You would fill your residence, your normal residence, and then you fill the state where you're supposed to go to. So I think what they did was that if you fill the same state as your residence, they'll probably post you to a jurisdiction that's close by. I'm not too sure, but I would advise you to please choose location with sense. I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying that, choose a place where you would be able to carry on with your law school experience. I'd advise that you choose a place where free accommodation and free feeding is awaiting you. That's what I did. I just chose, my father's state. So, my father and mother's house. That's where I stayed for my extension period. I was eating free food, I just had to sort out my transportation to court when it was court attachment, and to the chambers when it was chamber attachment. So externship is divided into chambers and court attachment. So this is really what externship is about. They post you out for about 9 to 11 weeks. Law school posts you out to a certain jurisdiction. You're attached to a judge or to a court for about 4 or 5 weeks. You're supposed to observe the judge and understudy the lawyers, observe the proceedings and all of that. And then you could probably interact with the judge. That also happened during my time. We would interact with the judge after each sitting. He would ask us questions, we ask him questions, and the judge was very eager to talk to us. He was so excited each time. He would ask us, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Like, I would be wondering, is this not the man that was glaring at lawyers in court? Why is he smiling at us and also, pleased with our presence? So that's what happened. And then we had logbooks that we have to fill. I'll explain logbook much later. We had logbooks that we had to fill in the activities of each day, and the judge had to sign each day's activities as filled in the logbook. And then, after that, we were sent to a particular chamber in town, and then we'd stay with them also for about 5 weeks thereabouts, understudy the lawyers, look at how chambers are being run. We learned about client counseling, witness preparation, and all sorts of how to actually practice law. So it's the practical aspect. That's why I said the first thing is that choose a place where you'd be able to concentrate fully. It's not, it's not a break from studies. It is actually part of the studies. I know some people chose a new jurisdiction. I don't think that's reasonable enough, because now some people had to now go and rent a place to stay during the externship, which is not exactly advisable. You have to now fend for yourself, pay your rent and all of that. If that's what you've been doing before externship period and you have no option, it's not a crime, and I'm not talking down on people who have to do that. But if you have the option of free food, free accommodation, a place where you can stay, which is not a toxic environment, because if you're trying to cut costs and you go stay with probably a family or a friend in a very toxic environment where you cannot even concentrate because there's one problem or the other every day, it's not wise at the end of the day. But if you have a readily available accommodation and feeding for you, you should just go there, so that you only have to bother yourself with the other little things, and then you would be able to concentrate on your externship. At the chambers, I was the only one, but in court, we were 4 in my court. And I was the group leader, and that's because my name was first on the list, so it wasn't because of any election or anything. So glory to Jesus. So that's number 1. Choose a location that's favorable to you. The second tip I want to share with you today is that the externship period is not a holiday. So you're not going on holiday. I recall that they told us the story of someone. I'm not sure if that story is true. I've not confirmed it, but I'll say it as I heard it. Apparently, he was some rich kid. Apparently, he's even a musician in Nigeria now. So during externship, he traveled out of the country, and then he ran into one of our law school lecturers. Not during my time, before my time. He ran to one of the law school lecturers, and I don't know where he stood after that, if he got off the hook or if not, but it's not a holiday. It's not the time for you to travel or go on a frolic of your own. The law school is actually posting you out. You are not sending yourself on a holiday. That's why I said that it's not the time for you to now go to a new jurisdiction or to follow your friends, people you've just met in law school or something. Follow them and say, I want to go and know this place. You have the whole of your career to go across jurisdictions and to know places in Nigeria. So law school externship period is not a holiday. Please do not treat it as one. The third tip that I want to share with you today is read, and read. Yeah, that's cliche, but honestly, it's the best advice anybody can give you for law school extension. So this is how I did mine. I always read. I try to read every day. I did not, always read every day, but I made it a goal that I was going to read in law school every day. So sometimes I did not skip to the goal, but sometimes I made it. So I tried to read what we did for the day, and I tried to read a little bit of what was going to happen the next day. Very important, because law school lecturers, they can call you at any time. I'll never forget the day. I never thought I was going to be called. I just heard number 068. Come forward and present on this question. Thank God that it was group up. My group had done it and sent our final answer to the group. I just, took my flash, went to put it in their system, because almost every, if you're not just answering a long question, if it's group work, you have to go and slot some flash drive or something in their system and present to the whole class. But glory to Jesus, I aced it, thank God. So read, and always be prepared. So when I went for externship, I continued reading. So what happened was that, before I went, I had already finished reading, almost finished the syllabus, or finished it even. And so when I went for externship, I read it all over again, beginning to the end. So when I got back to school, I just had to read the notes that I had, consolidated as, final exam notes. I read them all over again, and then I went for revision classes. Revision classes are very important in law school. That's where, the lecturers tell you the final positions for controversial areas of law. And those final positions are what's going to be marked in your exam. So it's very important to attend revision classes and jot down what they tell you as final positions for certain controversial areas of law. So I just had to read, all those exam notes, exam focus notes, all over again, making my reading about 3 times beginning to the end. So that might not be your own style. It might be that you just read once and you get it, but because I understood my capacity, that's how I read. So during externship, I finished the syllabus again. So it's very important, try to read. So because you'll be going to court in the morning or going to the chambers, the law firm in the morning and coming back probably in the evening, it's not an excuse for you to take reading or studies out of your plan for the day. You could take your books to court so that after the court sits and rises, you can read a little before you return home, if it will not be convenient or conducive for you to read at home. And even when you are in the law firm, you could take your books, your notes, to the firm and, stay in their library and read at times when they do not need you, or when, you're not supposed to be sitting with the lawyers for probably witness prep or client counseling and all of that. So make sure you read during your extension. If you have a backlog of notes to read, I think the extension period is a great time to cover up and, to meet up with your studies. So extension period, read, and read. The fourth tip that I want to share with you today is that you are not an errand boy or girl, and this is with respect to law firms. I know that there are times when they attach people to offices in Nigeria, maybe as IT students, as interns, as externs, and all of that. And then there's the tendency for them to turn you to the errand girl or the errand boy. Go and buy amala from Sky, if you're in Ibadan, for instance, or maybe they will send you to go and buy office supplies, or they'll send you on all manner of errands. You're not an errand boy or girl. Now that's not to say that you should disrespect people at the firm or the people that you answer to directly or indirectly, but make sure that the errands you're being sent are limited as much as possible to the scope of what law school has sent you to do there. Make sure that those things are things that are related to the practice of law that you're trying to learn in one way or the other. Especially make sure that there are things that you can put in your logbook, because they will form your activities for the day. Now you can't put in your logbook that, oh, I went to buy food for my principal. That's not law school's business. So if there are especially in firms where there are people already assigned to do this, don't try to be the good girl and boy and take over these people's paid positions. Please face what law school has sent you to go and do there. Now, I'm not saying that you should now refuse errands and now get in trouble, because these people still have to sign your logbook, and they will give a confidential report which will be sealed in an envelope and probably given to you or mailed to the law school about your conduct while you were with them. So it's important to create a good impression, but not at the expense of your studies or the activities that you're supposed to put in your logbook. So don't turn yourself to an errand boy or girl. The fifth and last tip that I want to share with you today is perfect your law school brief. When I say that, I'm making reference to your logbook. Now, this is how externship works. When you're posted, before you leave law school, you are assigned a supervisor. The supervisor will take you through, the law school expectations concerning the extension and what you're supposed to come back with. Now, usually you're supposed to come back with a properly filled and signed logbook, signed by your supervisor in chambers or the head of chambers, for the law firm attachment, and signed by, the judge for the court attachment. And then you're supposed to come back with a confidential report as well from the supervisor or head of chambers or lawyer or whomever you reported to at the law firm, stating what your conduct was when you were with them, and telling law school about your stay with them generally. It's a confidential report. You're supposed to come back with that too, and then you're supposed to write 2 essays. One is on the running of a law firm, where you talk about all the things you saw about the law firm where you were posted, how they ran their business, the good, the bad, the ugly, the things they did that they were not supposed to do, and the things they did that they were supposed to do, and the things they did not do that they are supposed to be doing. All those things are going into your essay on the running of the law firm, and then you're supposed to write one ethical dilemma. I think that one has to do with the courts. One ethical dilemma about, something that you observed in court or whatnot. I remember that I wrote about, interpreting in court proceedings, and how people cannot speak the court language are sometimes, shut out from true and proper justice, something of the sort. So you're supposed to return to law school with all these things. So law school fixes a date for presentation, whereby you take turns individually now to present your essays to them. Yes, the one on the running of a law firm is supposed to be reduced to a PowerPoint. I remember that during my time, I'd never prepared a PowerPoint on my own. So I told my supervisor at the law firm, he was the one that taught me how to make PowerPoints, and now I make badass PowerPoints in my own view. So he taught me how to make PowerPoint presentations, and then I, put my essay into a PowerPoint presentation. So you're supposed to present that on the appointed day, and then a panel of judges consisting of your lecturers and some outsiders too will ask you some questions about what you observed and learnt during the externship. I think they even asked me to recite a motion offhand, move a motion. I think they asked me to move a motion or something. It's not really difficult, but if you prepare ahead, you'd ace it. So, and then you submit your logbooks. So that's what the presentation is about. So your logbooks have to be properly signed. Because I was group leader when we were in court, I liaised with the judge and he agreed that he was going to sign our logbooks at the end of each week. So at the end of each week, I collected my colleagues' books, logbooks, took them to the judge, he signed, and I returned it to them. Some judges might decide to sign at the end of the entire court attachments, or as they please. And of course, the law firm attachment, so you have to sign your logbook. And during the externship too was when we signed our benchers form in my time. In my time, we had to sign, 2 benchers had to sign for us as sponsors. So, externship period too was the time when I signed my benchers form. So that's what I mean by perfect your brief before you return to law school. Because once you return, most likely you'll be going through revisions and exams. So it's not the time for you to now be thinking of, oh, I've not signed my benchers form. Oh, who will sign for me? I've not finished filling my logbook. I've not done my presentation. I've not put it into a PowerPoint. I don't have a flash drive. You don't want to be caught in all that unpreparedness. So please perfect your brief before you return from your externship. So those are the tips that I want to share with you today. I'm sure that if you apply them, as it's applicable in your own situation, they would help you ace your law school externship. That's all I have for you today. I will see you in my very next video. Don't forget to leave me comments in the comment section and give me feedback on this video. And if you like what you've watched, please like it. Click the like button and please subscribe to the channel. We're going on 400 now. I'm so excited. I know that we'll keep expanding and people will keep getting value. And if you'd like to communicate with me directly, you can send me an email at houseoflivingstones@gmail.com. I'll see you in my very next video. Toodles.